Welcome to the RAG Podcast, the weekly show where I interview recruitment owners who are prepared to tell their unique story of growth. This is all in aid of helping future and existing recruitment businesses who are looking to do similar things. Now, growth means different things to different people. So by tuning in every week, you're no doubt going to find information that's relevant to you.
On this week's episode of the RAG Podcast, I'm joined by Harry Portch. Harry is the founder of HM Staffing, a sales and marketing recruitment business headquartered in the UK that have just gone fully remote. What I love about Harry's story is he was 20 years old when he started his business with 18 months recruitment experience. And he started the business essentially by accident whilst playing FIFA when he received an email from an old customer. 6 years later, he's grown a team, he's scaled it up, he's scaled it down, he's made hundreds of mistakes, and he's also built one of the most synonymous brands in his industry. He gets paid to speak at events, and he's classed as a LinkedIn top voice. In this episode, we talk about Harry's journey, his story, the mistakes he's made, and why I think more people should take risks at an earlier age. I mean, Harry was 20 with no bills, living at home when he took a risk. There was literally nothing going against him. If it didn't work out, he was going to be at home anyway. And now 6 years later, he's in a completely different world. So if you're interested in building a recognizable brand in your sector, or you're interested in starting a business, or even employing people at a Gen Z, this is an episode for you. So let's get into it without further ado. Harry, welcome to the RAG Podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure. Coming down from Reading into London.
I know, it's quite easy. We just drove to Westfields and then obviously I'm here with...
Mate, it's closer than I've gone. I've
Oh, 100%. I just couldn't be able to get on the train. Do you know what it was? I just didn't want to have to pay for parking at the train station, then get the train. I was like, no, I'll just drive to Westfields and then...
You made it. You made
Yeah.
it. Well, mate, I met you at the expo, I
Yep.
think 18 months ago-ish.
Yeah, around that. I think we've had each other on LinkedIn a while.
Yeah, we knew each other.
Yeah,
I recognised you straight away because of the brand you built. And we've been chatting on and off since. So finally, it's good to see you again. And I'm really excited about this episode because you're one of the youngest founders I know of who's started a business in this industry, who's done well with it. 20 years old when you started your business.
Yeah, I feel old now.
Yeah,
When everyone keeps
26.
saying, oh, it's 20, I'm like, yeah, I'm pushing out. Yeah, my hairline's going as well. But
Oh, man. You're 26 years old.
Yeah,
You're at
man.
the age now when I moved to London and I was just kicking off. You're well ahead.
It's still very weird. I still think 100% because I only had 18 months recruitment experience when I set up. So it was all a bit of a crazy one. It was never the plan to set up either. It was never at all. I wasn't really enjoying it.
You weren't like the aspirational founder kind of guy.
No.
All right, so before we go into the story, give us like the 30 seconds overview, elevator pitch, or who you are and what your business does.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Harry Portch, founder of HM Staffing. So we're a sales and marketing recruitment agency, cover all over the UK. There is 6 of us now hiring at the moment. We've actually just gone fully remote, given up our offices and everything like that. Just didn't really want that to be the business that we were growing. So we've kind of gone through this transition and everything like that. We've staffed up, staffed down. So yeah, we've kind of gone on this bit of a crazy journey, and I feel like we're at a good place now.
Yeah, I get a vibe. I think when we spoke in the past, there was a bit of transition, but
Yeah. 100%.
mate, again, my business is a year older than yours, I think. So I think we turn 8 in March.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but you just kind of hit levels, and then you don't realize, but it's like steps. There's like major milestones every year or two that you're like, oh shit, this is a real change point, and then you do, and you build on it, and then it meanders again. So
yeah, I keep on this thing where we'll hit this step, and I'm there like, oh no, I don't like this. I actually want to go back a couple of steps and change what I was doing there, and then, but it's okay to keep doing that.
But it's building the business you want, and that's what it's all about. So let's just go back a step. So you mentioned really quickly there that you weren't necessarily the aspiring founder. So what was the story like of getting? You don't have to go into forever, but into the whole detail. But like, what got you into recruitment in the first place?
So I'd moved to Uganda for a few months. And
I saw that. Didn't you have something to do with Rwanda as well?
Mate, it was the weirdest thing. So I was in a bar in Uganda, and the head of the Rwandan rugby team was just there with me. And he's a guy from, I think, where does he live? He lives in Surrey, I think. And we and him just speaking about stuff, and then me and him worked together for a month, and he appointed me the assistant manager of it. So like randomly,
you a rugby player then?
Do you know what, when I was like 16,
Yeah,
I was, and then I did not watch it, did not play it, and like randomly he appointed it, and we have this letter to say that it happened. So I still have it on my LinkedIn.
You're the Rwandan.
I was the assistant manager for 2 months of the Rwandan national rugby team. It's just the most random thing. Like, it's just like the weirdest.
That's the end of the show, everyone.
Yeah. It's just like the weirdest thing I got into. But so went out there.
So what you're proving is you can recruit yourself into anything.
Yeah, basically. I can just, managed to just blag it anywhere. And so I came back, and then I was out with my brother and hit some of his friends, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I did like an intern in London for 1 month, and I just didn't really, I was a bit like, okay, what's next and everything. And I was speaking to one of his mates, and his mates was like, oh, well, you know, I'm in recruitment. I was like, what's that? Like, I have no idea. And he was like, oh, I just get to speak to people all day. And I was like, yeah, great. Like, I could do that. And then, so I met with his director and then joined them. I was there for 18 months. It was a small agency. There's only 5 of us. So all I've known is small agencies. Yeah. So you've never really seen internal recruitment. We've never really seen people doing like 50, 60, 70 grand months. Everyone was averaging about 15, 20. So you had this like big sales force, like sales floor even, none of that. Like none at all. So it was it's a bit of a shock still. And then, so I left there after 18 months, just wasn't really enjoying it anymore. I was sat at home playing FIFA. Had no idea what I was going to do next. And then old candidate called my mobile and was like, oh, I'm a HR manager now. I've got 4 roles. Do you want to work it? And I was like, I might as well. Like, give me something to do. I went downstairs. I was still living at home. And I said to my dad, I was like, oh, I want to do this. And he was like, why? I was like, well, just something, isn't it? I worked out the fees and it was more than I earned when I was at the agency. So then he was like, oh, I'll just set up a business and do them and just see what happens. And then literally it's just snowballed from there. So it was no plan never to do it. I literally just had a phone call. And they were like, oh, what are you doing? I was like, oh, just nothing. Like, thing I don't really want to say, oh, yeah, I'm just sat here playing FIFA, really. And it literally all started from there.
So where's the name come from?
It means hire me.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. So everyone thinks it means Harry something.
Harry, I thought your middle name might be Mark or something like that.
No.
Really?
Yeah, hire me. That was it. Like, do you know what it is? I think when you're naming a recruitment agency, there's so many. Yeah. And all the names are taken. Because I wanted HM recruitment, couldn't get that. No. So then it had to be staffing. And then someone in America had a similar name. And then we always get H&M. So I get a lot of payroll inquiries from H&M. Like, oh, I've worked in the Oxford Street store for how long? I've not been paid. And I'm like, yeah, it's not me.
I can't fix that.
Yeah. It's like, I can't.
Get your job in sales and marketing.
Yeah. Also, I can help you out, but not in that way.
So you're 20 years old.
Yeah.
What did the first iteration look like? Like, paint a picture of what it was like when you started.
So very weird. So the first few months, I was just sat downstairs in my mum and dad's kitchen, just working a few roles. Luckily, that client that came to us.
Did you have a decent network before you started?
No, not really. We had 18 months. My highest billing month was 15 grand. Yeah. It was more just, I was like, oh, I can probably like blag this. I managed to persuade my grandma to put CV library trial on her credit card. So she was there like, oh yeah, whatever. And we paid her back.
So not only do you blag you into the Rwandan group,
fraud
you then sell you convince your grandma to use.
Yeah, well, she was like, oh yeah, like it was like a couple £100 or something for that. And I didn't have any money. Like our commission structure at this last agency was whatever like you put in percentage wise, you get a percent of that profit. And like even at months I've done 15 grand, we got like £100 commission. So and I was on like 17 grand a year.
Oh mate.
So like you never really saw any of it. And then she was like, oh yeah.
So you didn't have any savings?
No,
nothing
at all.
But I guess in a way there's no risk because you're at home anyway.
Yeah. Like,
what's the worst going to happen? You stay at your mum and dad's and you have to go get a job.
Yeah, that's all I saw it as. All I was thinking was, I think these 3 roles at the start were about 20 grand. And I was thinking, well, if I fill them, I'll have a 20 grand in a couple of months, then I can just live off that for a bit. And that was like my mindset. I didn't think of anything else to do with it. I didn't really.
20, I don't think I would.
Yeah, I was just.
Did your parents not think, what are you doing?
They were just there like, because like, they saw like the role come in and like I was like sat with them and I was like, it's 20 grand. And they were just like, oh, just do it, why not? I was there like, all right, cool. And then that client then gave us another 3 jobs. So I was like, well, hang about now. I'm gonna have like 40 grand here. That's more than I've earned a year in a few months. So it all kind of started like that. And I still speak to that one person. They've retired now. And I always tell her the story. And she's there like, yeah, I know. She just doesn't get it. She's there like, I can't believe that's randomly how this started.
Yeah. So you start in your bedroom, or in your kitchen of your parents. And how did that first year progress then?
So I went a bit crazy. I had like 5 people, which is.
But you did do some deals then?
Yeah. So we did deals, and we ended up. I hired my best mate at the time, so I was like, I just need someone to like keep me company in this office. I just did not want to, because we had like the tiny Regis ones.
Oh, so you moved out. What point did you move out?
4 months after we moved into a 2-person Regis one, no windows, internal office.
Miserable.
Like, yeah. Like you can't. Yeah, it's horrible.
Why?
To be in there. I didn't want to just be in the house working. Like I've got a brother and everything like that, so everyone would be around. So like if you're on a call, people just walk behind you. Yeah. Like no one really cared or anything. So we took this Regis office, which was like it's horrible. But then I hired one of my best mates, more just like if I've done a deal for like someone to be like, oh yeah, well done, like just so you're not.
Did they even have recruitment experience?
No. Taught them how to resource. And then like we had this like we had loads of these customer service jobs come on just in this office. And they wanted like 10 people, all the same role. So I was like, right, here's a script. Just repeat this to everyone.
Was he all right?
Yeah, he filled a couple roles, right? He paid for himself. And then we did like a 20 grand month. And I was like, we're getting a bigger office. We're going to hire people. We started doing all that. And I was like, that was the stupidest thing we could have done. Hired just like the wrong people. But even though I look back at it now, I had no idea what kind of person I wanted to hire. All I thought was, let me take someone from a big agency that's done a minimum of 6 months because they must be good, which obviously
doesn't equate to.
No, exactly that. So yeah, we wasted a lot of time and money on stuff like that. Hired like a really experienced office manager because I thought, that'd be like really important.
In your 2-person, or you already moved at that point?
We moved into this like 5-person one, and we were like, we'll bring her on and stuff like that. And
what was she gonna do?
I don't know. Just like this is what I mean. Like
happy.
Because the agency that I was at before, there was 3 consultants and 2 admins because they did a lot of temp stuff back then. We only do perm. So I thought that was the next hire. Because that's what I'd seen. I'd not seen these big agencies.
Are you getting any advice elsewhere?
No. So it was, I didn't really know anyone else that was in recruitment as well. And I always think back then, people weren't as friendly with each other founders.
I think it's definitely improved.
It's changed massively, I think. So you couldn't really like have a support network of anything. So I started going to BNI. I don't know if you've ever been to one. Horrific, right? Yeah. And like everyone else like 60 in that room, and I'm literally sat there and I'm 20 and I'm like 6 a.m. getting up having like a soggy bacon sandwich, and it was just horrendous. But like all this stuff, I look back now, like all those things, I just find it like so funny, kind of.
Yeah, the cringe, funny. I mean, I literally ran with Emma, my business partner, around the Thames last night. I went for a run at about 7:30, and my question was, what's the time at Hoxo that you like cringe at the most?
Yeah.
And we had we've had some bad moments.
But it's funny. I've got like a folder on my phone of like the photos from it all.
Well, I've just got all my photos and I can just scroll through them. Like there's so many of those early days.
But we spent like £500 on a media wall, which is our logo just all over the wall. And we used to take all our photos in front of it, and it was just like
you ain't got a clue.
Horrendous.
You ain't got a clue. We invited a client to come to our office in East London. It was further out than this in Bow. For a video shoot, and it was about. Do you remember the summer of 2018 when it was hot? Really hot.
Like too hot. Yeah,
it was one of them days where it was like 31, and we got them to come out to a warehouse, like an old warehouse with no ventilation, no fans, nothing, into this attic with all these lights. And they had to travel in from the city, so it took them like 40 minutes to get there with all them messing about on buses and shit. Coming in, making them go up these metal steps, queue to go in to do the little bit.
Yeah.
And they were dripping with sweat. It was the thing about their employer brand video. And every member of staff is just like dribbling. And we edited this video. I mean, the camera guy behind's watching because he's thinking, what the hell have you done? And genuinely, we had to just like bin it and do it all again. I was like, but those were the times I was like, what are we doing?
But I sometimes wish I could go back and just like watch. I was like,
no, I'm so happy I'm not.
Yeah, like just like some of the times I'm there like, it is like looking back now, for the people that were probably involved and employed at the time, it probably wasn't funny.
No, it wasn't.
And like,
it was funny for me at the time.
Yeah,
like back, I'm like, yeah.
But now I've learned to laugh about it, and because like not long after we set up, we had all this stuff, the office. Luckily, the office manager decided to leave, and then boom, COVID lockdown happened.
So how much did you bill in that first year? Can you remember?
So I think it was like 120. So it wasn't like anything.
But it's still a lot of money if you're 20 at one, and you haven't really got a clue what you're doing, and you're hiring people, and you're just winging it.
100%. Like I was the only one that was actually doing deals. Like we hired a senior consultant that never did a deal. And
so they're just all around you.
Yeah, I'd never managed anyone as well. So I'm like, I don't really know what to say. And I probably said the wrong things all the time.
Did you have like a database or anything?
Yeah, we did. That's one thing I always regret is that we signed up to too many systems straight away on quite long contracts. Like we had one that was like a 5-year contract that we've only just got out of, and we hadn't used it for like the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I went sort of heavy on that after a few deals, which it was just like looking back, not the right thing to have done. Like, let me get a really big CRM. Let's get all like the video interviewing. Let's get everything.
Yeah, well, that was a big thing then. I don't think does anyone buy video interview platforms anymore?
I still get the sales emails,
but isn't it just like Zoom and all them Teams and everything just kind of got?
I think it's everything else they bolted on now that people must be buying. But everyone, remember in COVID, everyone then got offered, we'll give you all this extra product for an extra 2 years. And everyone was like, that sounds like such a good idea. Like all our clients, anyone that we did hiring for in COVID, everyone would use it.
Yeah.
And our market kind of just completely went. So we were there like, right, well, if they're using it, we need it. And I know loads of people still in contracts for it just from COVID times. So they thought, hang about, I can get all this extra stuff. Let's just add the years on.
Yeah. So going into COVID then, you've got an office.
Yeah.
You've got a few members of staff. Your office manager's gone. You've got to shut up the office.
Yeah.
You're 20, 21, 22? Like what?
At that point, I was 21. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do? Like, what was your mindset like for that? How did you manage your way through that?
Yeah, it was a weird one because we furloughed everyone except me. All our clients just completely stopped.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we had one client that worked in healthcare, and they were a private healthcare company. They were then NHS. So like we had 2 contractors with them, like more like temp really. And we just completely cut all the costs involved with it. So I was there like, I don't feel good charging you like a £7 an hour margin or something like that when you guys are actually now trying to help everyone out.
Yeah.
So we kind of cut all the costs aside to that. So we weren't eligible for like bounce back loans, nothing like that, because we were still quite new.
Yeah.
We were allowed furlough. That was the only thing we were sort of eligible for. And then I reckon we probably did, for that year where it was like lockdown basically, we probably did like 7 deals.
Yeah.
Just because no one was hiring salespeople, no one was really hiring marketing people. Back then we used to do a lot of admin and HR as well.
None of that.
They were the first ones to go. So yeah, literally no one. And also
The furlough kept the team alive.
Yeah.
And you just kept your head down and carried on working.
Yeah. The thing is that I've never really had like a lot of like outgoings like back then as well. Like all I had was like a £30 a month phone bill. It's the only thing I had. So like it wasn't the sort of the end of the world for me, but everyone else was just...
Do you not think though, like, again, some people are just not capable of it or should ever start a business, but
Yeah.
there is something in that, like, the older you get, the more responsibilities you have, the harder these decisions are.
Yeah.
Why aren't more young, like early 20s people taking these risks? Because I'm like, well,
I think they are now.
they are now, but no, I still don't know that many that...
I get a lot of messages
Yeah.
from young recruiters saying that they want to set up an agency, and I will spend sort of hours with them on Teams. Just like I'll never charge.
Do you put them off?
No. I'll be honest with them. And like, if I say like, okay, what your bidding's like, okay, what's your day look like, what's your BD structure look like, and I'll be there like, if you're like, go somewhere else and get stronger on a BD front before you do this, or
Would you... so if let's go back a step then. Would you change anything?
I'd have started later.
Would you have gone and worked for someone else and learnt more?
100%. Would have gone work for a bigger agency.
Yeah.
100%.
And what would you have learned?
I would probably just more like seeing what it's like. Like I think we spoke about this when we first met. Like I do not know what it looks like even to be in an office with 30 people in like a recruitment agency, how that even works, what the functions look like. Yeah. So like for me, that's something that I'd really have wanted to.
See, I went from Randstad.
Yeah.
So there was 150 on the floor.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, the way I describe it is like, if you remember like the old, whenever you see a film and there's like a newspaper, they're in like a newspaper company, like a Daily Express or something, and there's like people everywhere and it's just noisy. That's what it was like. And there was like different teams across different banks and you didn't know everyone.
Yeah, of course.
And then I moved to London and there was 6 of us in an office in Trafalgar Square and you could hear a fucking pin drop.
Yeah, you
And I was
can't
like-
hide from it.
And I was like, this is mad. Like every phone call, the whole office can hear me. No one could hear anything in Australia. But then we got that company up to, there was about 40 in the UK when I left 55 in the company. So I've probably been in every stage of big corporate and then that growing boutique. I've not built those businesses obviously since, but I do. Yeah, I can't even imagine not have seen.
It was
even
weird.
seeing like the slightly bigger business than what you're trying to create.
For us, like we overtook the number that they had within like 2 years. And we got up to, I think the most headcount we've had is 14 at one point.
Right.
I hated it. Just because like we did it too quickly. I didn't really like everyone in the room. I just thought, you know what, I've completely compromised on what and who I want around me for it. Then we scaled it back at that point. We did an academy and it was just like the worst.
Load of juniors who just...
Yeah, but I'd never seen the academy work. So I thought, yeah, that'll be sick. They'll all smash it. We'll have like 4 new hires. 1 might drop out. I thought that was the ratio, obviously.
So how did... So when did... Because COVID bounced back.
Yeah.
So did you see in 2021 too, it started, your market was really strong?
So yeah, it started getting a lot better. I thought BD was ridiculously easy in like those couple of years. Like everyone would work with you.
Yeah.
And like now I think the market's going back to normal a bit more. I think the consultants that join recruitment in that like era now are struggling. I always see it. When I speak to people and I see they started in those years, I'm always a bit like, okay.
Yeah, you didn't see a normal market.
Yeah, you haven't seen anything normal. Like you could send a spec and then that person would be like, yeah, I actually need that person. Like let's do it. Now it's sort of leveling out a lot more. I think it's a bit more candidate led now.
But when it comes to
candidate-led.
Did you go back to the office and...
Yeah, so we went back 5 days a week. We only introduced hybrid working last year at the start, and that was 2 days from home. And then I started enjoying not being in the office as much. And then December time, the 1st of December, I think it was, around then, was when we decided to go fully remote.
Yeah. So What was the trajectory like after COVID? So it gets busy.
Yeah.
You're back in the office, and then you scale it up to 12.
Yeah, exactly that.
And what made you scale it? Like, who was telling you that it was a good idea?
That's what I've always seen people do, and I thought, okay, that must be the right path.
Yeah.
Like, you got to scale it up quickly, hire fast, fire fast, and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. What everyone always says about LinkedIn, sort of like the hustle bros and all of that, right? So like that's the only thing that I've seen. So I'm like, right, okay, that must be. And I think Reading was where I'm from. The recruitment market's strong, and you've seen a few agencies go absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Like Rock, Austin Fraser, and people like that. So I always see like that, and I think, okay, that must be
The way to do it.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
But now I've realised that's probably not as
It's
much.
I say this on all the episodes in a minute. Like, the reason this show exists now is not to show how to scale and exit. It's to give people a different lens on the way to grow a company. And I think the most important thing for everyone is that you build the business that's true to you.
100%.
It's not about what other people want. It's if you want a business that's 5 people and you love it, great. But it's when where there's an issue is when people do what you did. And I've done it. And loads of people have done it. Where you build what you think you want because that's what society tells you should do, and you quite quickly realise it's not what you want.
Exactly.
Or the people aren't right, or the systems aren't there, and it's built on weak foundation.
I hear more horror stories about scaling than like great stories about it. Like now, if in like 5 years' time, let's say we have 20 people, all fully remote, experienced people, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to sell. I wouldn't want to do anything like that. It becomes a bit more of a lifestyle at that point, obviously, but I think that's probably the route that we will go down.
At what point did you start looking at brand and thinking about your online presence? Because you've got a really good following on LinkedIn, your content's wicked, you've got a top voice badge. That wouldn't have been something I imagine in the early days you were that aware of or conscious of?
We met a guy called Richard Chipchase, and it was before COVID, and he'd even like show me what Zoom was back then. I was like, what is this? This is never going to catch on. I was like, what did I know at that point? He was always telling me about the importance of LinkedIn and LinkedIn Recruiter and actually like emails and stuff, and like taught me how to do that side of things. And then he was there like, oh, you should like post content. Like not many people really do it. So we started doing it, and how we first started was videos. So what we would do is like reacting to mean tweets about recruiters. And we'd have someone in the studio that they'd literally hours looking through Twitter just for people.
Finding,
and like you have to be quite careful because there's in America some of the recruits more like the army and stuff.
Yeah. The word.
Yeah.
We used to have like some bots on my Instagram around recruitment, like replying to hashtag recruitment comment.
Yeah.
And I must have like I replied to like every US Army post for like 6 months.
So we were having to like, okay, that's probably about the US Army. That's probably not. So we did that, and then we did that video, and it did like really well back then. And remember, we had a new client from it, sort of household brand that we actually did the following year, 400 grand with them, just that one account. So I was like, hang about. This could actually really
How did that translate into an account? Because that's what people don't understand.
The person commented and just thought it was absolutely hysterical.
Right.
Like we were just there, like the whole team were in the video, and we were just like sat on a sofa, just reacting to it, laughing, like pushing each other a little bit, and like just coming across as like, oh, these people really got quite a good laugh to be around. They commented on it, and then I just replied to them, and like we just had like a bit of a chat. And then 2 weeks later, they were like, what's your number? Gave me a call and like, look, we really need this person.
Can you help?
Yeah, can you help us? Like, what are your fees? And I was like, oh, what are you getting charged? And they're like 25%. I was like, yeah, we'll match it.
Yeah.
And like just did it like that basically. And then they turned into like highest paying client and everything like that. And it was all from just replying to people in the comments. Because people just used to like all like throwaway comments all the time. And I think like people don't comment as much as now as people used to. But literally just from one video that we did, showed a bit of personality, a bit of humour. And
then you realise, right, this is something I can consist.
Yeah.
When you look at your personal brand, obviously, I get a sense that you're representing that Gen Z generation. And is that intentional? Like, what are you trying? How would you describe the brand you're trying to build?
Yeah, it's hard because I actually don't think about it that much. I'll just be like, right, what am I thinking right now? Like, I still get a lot. Like, I'll get slated on LinkedIn sometimes. Like, you know,
oh, you're saying?
I called someone Karen the other day, like, and then I just had a certain age group going for me.
Yeah.
I've got like a bit on my notepad where like every country that someone's like called me like a swear word written down, and I've got like 20 different countries.
Oh wow!
I absolutely love it. I just find it quite
post
funny.
about that.
Oh, I've got like France, Greece in there. Like, it's everywhere. But for me, I was just like, right, okay. Actually, when I talk about things that I actually think about hiring, or I think about trying to do anything, I was like, that way then, instead of me not trying to speak to a client about it, it's going to get out to thousands of people. So I don't actually really think, hey, I want to be speaking about this today, I want to be speaking about X. Like, what have I seen? I've posted a job ad and had a cover letter. I think cover letters are a waste of time. I'm going to post about that.
Right.
And that's all I'll think, just random.
This is exactly what I'm saying, right? It's, you're taking it from real life experience that's actually happening, and you're just regurgitating it in an authentic way. Yeah,
100%. And I'm really, particularly with actually like language that I use, I always want people to actually see and read it as how I'm saying it.
Yeah.
I won't use words that I would never say. Yeah.
That's where ChatGPT goes wrong for a lot of people.
100%.
They're putting in sentences, and you see even when it's like American Z's in like realize and
Grammarly though, sometimes that I know it does it on that, but
even like overly over punctuation, like full stops on everything. I'm just like, I don't know, LinkedIn doesn't need all that.
There's certain things that I think do really well. Like when you do a list and you do it in order where like the bullet points all go in a line, little things like that.
Yeah.
That does so well for content because people see that and they're like, oh, that's nice. And they like it. They're not even read it. They're just seeing like the line.
They like the design of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So question for you then, because again, I think this is, I'm pretty sure I know the answer for what you're about to say, but if we look at, you got the ROI off that one video.
Yeah.
But do you think, do you need an ROI on every post?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Because also like someone might see that post once. I'll give you a prime example. So someone had seen like a few of my posts. I didn't know they'd seen it. They hadn't liked it. They hadn't commented on it. I went to the football with my mum and dad, and the person sat behind us for 10 years. Just went, oh, you Harry off LinkedIn? I saw one of your posts today. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's the most embarrassing thing in the world. Like my dad's there like taking the piss really. But then like we had work from them. And I'm there like, well, I didn't even know they'd seen my posts. And I don't even know which post they've seen.
Yeah.
Like they've probably seen 2 or 3.
So you believe in the brand numbers? You see 10,000, 20,000 eyeballs, you believe in that?
Yeah.
You know, that's how I feel. And
and
I think I'll keep talking about this on the show. It's like, get into a place where people believe in the metric. It's like the radio wouldn't exist. TV adverts wouldn't exist because you don't know who the fuck is listening. You just know the numbers and the demographics and locations.
Yeah, like Apple don't know that you've seen a new iPhone.
No, they don't. And billboards on the side of motorways.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know that on the M1, you're going to get X traffic on a given day. You don't know Johnny Wilkinson was in his car.
No, exactly.
And that's the bit that people just seem in recruitment because everything's so one-to-one. It's like, I'm going to dissect the amount of people I am in mail and I'm going to phone those and I want an ROI of every single part of this. And I get it. And I don't stop doing that.
Yeah.
But the one-to-many approach is also really important.
But so I don't even really look at the data that much. When you hit, 100,000 people saw it and you click it and it says, 20% in the recruitment industry. Because I'm there like, well, it doesn't matter because if one person from a fintech company that want to hire 100 people saw it, that's not going to come up in those stats.
So how does that translate for you into business then? So you've got the comments that you reply to.
Yep.
Has it then led as well to like those direct inbound messages where people come out of the blue?
So I sometimes get inbound ones. What I also do is go through everyone that's liked it, second connections, connect.
Yeah.
As long as it's like something that I kind of want to be with. Drop a voice note, really big on voice notes. So do a lot of follow up around that. Normally if I see someone that's liked it 2 or 3 times, then I'll start commenting back on theirs as well. And you start recognizing names. The other thing as well is I always post a photo. And everyone's there like, oh, it's so cringy posting a photo. I'm there like, yeah, but then you go to expos or you go anywhere like that. People
do have a strategy where like everyone's a photo of you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that makes yours unique though. Because I don't do that. I do that on, say, 20-30% of my content.
Yeah. I get a lot of, why is this photo relevant? I was like, well, it's me saying it and it's a photo of me. That's what it is. And I had
I think it takes a level of confidence to do what you're doing there. Because some people
I hated it at the start.
People will chip away at you.
Oh yeah, they do. Like I had this one guy did a post about girls in recruitment posting these photos, and it's like why are you bothered? But then some girl was there like, but boys do it too. Look at Harry Portch for example. I was like, well, hang about. Like, I was like, why am I getting dragged into this? And but I like it's part of the whole like brand. Like it's not just that, but it takes up more of your screen on your phone. It's little things that it works.
What they call it, social real estate.
Yeah, like I use my dog all the time.
Yeah.
Like people they're like, oh Shane, like I'll get a random message going, how's Shane? I'm like, what?
I know Henry, my friend, she gets a load of attention.
Yeah.
But again, if you're just posting pictures of your dogs for the sake of it, or your dinner, or I'm here in Dubai, check me out, that ain't gonna lead to more business.
No.
It's got to be the underlying messages that are consistently coming out or adding value. Like I read one to you about today that you put up about, is it 52% of people have said they've had like less than, is it 66 minutes of training?
Yeah, that mental, whatever. Like, I can't remember the stat, but yeah.
Like 66 minutes a year of leadership training. There's a reason why people fail in leadership roles. Yeah. It's like, see, that's valuable.
Yeah.
That makes you think. And that shows you've got knowledge. And
And also the photos as well. Like, I won't just take one of me at the bar with my mates. They'll be in an office environment, speaking on a podcast, on stage. They'll be kind of relevant to a working environment.
And you genuinely want people to jump on a Zoom and go, I recognise you.
Yeah.
Equally, that's when I saw you walking up to me at the expo, I was like, I know you from LinkedIn. I didn't even know your name in my first head, but I was like, I know you.
And people remember faces.
Works. It works.
So like that, it works like really, really well for us.
And there's something really powerful about being a bit different.
Yeah.
In a world where every other recruiter is just posting jobs and posting scripts, you're the guy that puts photos of, the polished photos, good quality photos of yourself. So what?
Like they're all relevant. And when someone says like, oh, what relevance is this? I'll be like, well, I'm speaking on stage here, actually about the same topic. So I'm like, well, that's why it's relevant.
How often do you have to justify these things?
Most days.
Yeah.
Every time I post with a photo, there'll be someone.
In the comments or in DMs?
Mainly comments, sometimes DMs. Some people, my favourite ones, are when they went to send it to someone else and be like, oh, what, make a comment about it, and they accidentally send it to me. I've had a few of them. So funny.
How do you stay positive in a world where you're getting some, negativity? Because that's the bit that puts most people off from this, is they're frightened to death of that someone's not going to like them.
So I at the start I did, and it used to bother me, but now I just genuinely don't care. I'm there like, either you're going to like what I say and buy into what I'm doing, or you're not. And if you're not, that's completely fine.
We're not going to work together anyway.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter to me. And I can't control how that's going to make you feel, so it doesn't bother me. Like, I know that I can't have any impact on anything, so I've literally like...
How have you got to that? Have you been... Is it reading? Is it coaching? Is someone helped you with that?
I don't even think it's that. It's just like to the point now of like, I used to always care what people think, and I'm like, and it used to bother me because you sit there for hours thinking about it. And then I just realised like, I can't change that. So why am I letting that? And I always say it to my fiance, which sounds really weird saying fiance now as well.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
When did you get engaged?
December.
Oh,
we spoke, and then it was the week after.
Lad.
I know, so it's all a bit of a expensive.
You got a date in diary?
Not yet. I think in a couple of years. We're starting. I've got a stag do date in mind though.
You're 26, mate.
Yeah, exactly. There's a few things that we want to do first, but I always say to her, I was like, what? Like, why do you care? Like, if someone at her works something very nice, I was like, you can't do anything about it. I was like, just don't bother it. Like, just don't let it bother you. And she's like, yeah, it's not that easy. I'm like, I don't think it is, but once you actually realise and you can make yourself think that, then you don't actually care anymore.
Yeah, I was literally talking to my business partner over breakfast this morning about this. Like, logic and emotion aren't connected.
No.
And my wife says this a lot to me. Like, she struggles with postnatal depression and OCD. Not OCD like cleaning. Everyone thinks OCD is cleaning. It's not. It's about obsessively, compulsion around different things, and she has these sticky thoughts, and she's amazing at telling me like logic and emotion aren't connected, but then she suffers with it herself. And I think I've noticed it the most with alcohol. Like when I've stopped, since I've stopped, the reaction people have with it, it's always about them.
100%.
Like, because me not drinking makes fuck all difference to your life. Like,
people get so offended by it.
People get so
100%.
But all you've done is you've stuck a mirror up. Even with your content, I think you're putting a mirror up to people going, you could do this. And they go, oh, I don't know if I should do that. I don't know if I want to do that, but should I do that? And then they're like, am I doing enough? Are you doing more than me? And it's like...
people always, but like the alcohol one, like everyone goes, oh, why don't you drink? Oh, I just don't drink. Everyone wants a reason. But like if you went, oh, I don't do heroin, people go, why don't you do heroin? Like, you'd never have to say...
I do think things are getting easier with the alcohol game.
100%.
And, Alex, who's coming on the show, is similar. But it is brilliant how I'll say I'm not drinking, and it'll have, without even asking someone, they'll explain how much they drink. And you can see it's going on. All they're doing is they're assessing their own relationship in their own head. And that same thing I've associated with this situation. I don't think I'm as good at putting in other scenarios. Like the way you've just gone, well, it's their problem. I can't control. I think I need to be better at that.
It's the most amazing thing. And when you can actually do it, you just don't care anymore. like just like if someone says like, oh, like you know, okay.
That person's offended.
Yeah, I can't change that, so I'm not going to let it bother me.
I'm interrupting today's episode to talk about our sponsor, Atlas, the only AI-first recruitment platform on the market. Now, imagine you had a genuine assistant following you around, listening to everything you said on the phone or in meetings, and then doing all the admin for you that you don't want to do. Well, that is actually possible now through Atlas CRM. It's the only platform with fully integrated AI, so there's no note-taking whatsoever and no need to buy any additional software. Now, they've got so many amazing features. Specifically, you can search beyond CVs. Okay, so all your interviews are added to the powerful search platform. And if a candidate mentions their experience on the phone or whatever, let's say they use React JS, JavaScript,
this will be searchable for you if you use the keyword React. So it's not just searching CVs, it's searching every single communication touch point you've had with that person ever. Okay, so Atlas is brand new to the market and launching so rapidly. For the first 200 members, they are offering what's called a founder's license, okay? And the founder's license is going to be a 40% discount for life, okay? And it's only for the first 200. Now, if you want to be in the first 200, you're listening to this episode through the RAG, you're going to have a great chance. Go to www.recruitwithatlas.com/the RAG and sign up on that page. All right, let's get back to the show. Do you try and change it? Do you even put energy into like trying to convince people?
No.
No.
Because I'm there like, because you're going to argue it, right? And now I'm going to spend 3 hours of you debating something. I don't care.
All right, let's put this into a sales context then. So
Yeah.
let's say you're trying to negotiate with the client over terms or something. There's times where they don't agree with or they're offended by something you've said, or, you've put together a proposal that doesn't match what they wanted.
Yeah.
In those instances, though, you need to be able to try and influence, right?
Yeah, of course.
Do you ever give up on that, though, and think, you know what, I'm not even going to try and change your mind?
Those kind of things, it depends. I've got certain things that I'm not going to change.
Yeah.
So if you want to really try and change that, I'll be like, well, that's fine. We're not going to be able to move forward on this because I can't change that.
Yeah.
Certain situations like that, we'll try and find a solution 100%. But when it's like people's opinions on like LinkedIn content and everything like that, I'm like, doesn't matter. If we have a client and goes, I don't like how you post on LinkedIn, I'll be like, okay. And I just won't carry on the conversation with it. I'll just, okay, and then just move on from it.
So you wouldn't go, why?
No. Because I like, if I wouldn't, I'm not going to ask them for advice on LinkedIn content, so I'm not really going to take their
Here's one for you then, because you're in a similar world to me in that respect. Like, do you find people feel the need they feel compelled to be able to tell you what they think, even though they don't know it?
100%.
Like, I get people all the time saying stuff like about my hair or my kids or my wife, or they'll just make comments about things. I'm like, I don't even know you.
Yeah.
Like, I would never say that to you. I would never look at you, or I don't know.
Yeah.
We might have met before, but I'd never be like, oh God, your hair's looking bad, or
Yeah.
why'd you shave your hair off?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know you.
I always dye my hair randomly. People are like, I prefer doing that. I don't care.
I know. But again, it's not even like I don't care. It's like, but again, it is a byproduct of the brand, isn't it?
But I always think, why are you, like, people, when I'm stuff like that and they get really bothered by it, like, you've wasted your day getting bothered about something that you can't change that has nothing to do with you. What a way to live your life.
Yeah. So I do think, though, it's obviously it's a byproduct of the positive. So the positive is you reach thousands of people. You can tap into audiences others can't.
Yeah.
You get business coming inbound. Mm-hmm. You're not as reliant on that machine of outbound. But on the flip side, you're going to get people have opinions of you that perhaps 100%. Aren't great. People feel over familiar with you. They'll say things that. So I guess what we're saying is there are some downsides, but if you weigh them up, I think the pros well outweigh.
100%. But the people that give you their opinions aren't the people that have done it. Like Stephen Bartlett, for example, I don't really rate him that much. I don't listen to the podcast or anything like that, but he wouldn't there go, oh yeah, I think your LinkedIn post today. He wouldn't have an opinion of someone's personal brand because he's done that and he understands what it's
people
like.
never go down, do they? They never chip away at people below them.
They was always shooting up. Yeah. And I'm like, well, just, it doesn't matter. Like, I have mates that are like, oh, your LinkedIn's really cringy. I'm like, okay, you haven't ever posted.
Yeah.
If you're in a sales role, you're constantly doing outbound where I'm getting stuff inbound.
Yeah.
It makes my job funner.
How I work is better.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
It works well for me. And I'm there like, try it. And then they try it and they're like, oh, I actually had some quite good stuff from it. I'm like, yeah,
There's a question I asked on one of my other episodes recently, like, because I had a guy who went through my training.
Yeah.
And he said, do you know what? I loved it. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I didn't realize was going to be the emotional journey of the identity shift to become a content creator. Mm-hmm. He's like, I understood the outcome.
Yeah.
But to go from never posting to suddenly posting, like, that's just not my identity. I'm not someone who posts on Facebook or Instagram or anything, TikTok. So have you ever come across that way? It's like, it is an identity shift to go from someone who's private to someone who's public.
See, it's really weird because I used to post on Instagram all the time.
Right.
And then when I started posting on LinkedIn, I rarely post on Instagram. And like, I won't have it across those social media platforms. Like now I've separated it from, that's actually going to help me in my work. I don't see that as, like we got signed to an influencer agency the other day. Like that makes me feel physically sick. saying those two words, right? But I've just got that as part of my job.
Yeah.
It's literally like I'm not a content creator. It's just part of my job.
Part of the role.
Part of my role is, I don't say I'm a BDer. I don't do.
That's a good point, isn't it?
Like you say, I'm a recruitment. I'm a recruitment agency or something like that. So I don't see it as a content creator. I see it as I need to get that out because it's going to help me with my job.
Yeah, it's like cold calling, email, and content.
Yeah, exactly. You don't cut hair once and become a barber.
No.
Like it's the same thing. Like just because you're doing it as part of your job doesn't mean that's what.
Right.
You are.
But if you're listening to this conversation and you're like, I get it. I've been watching Sean, Harry's brand looks cool, but I've never done it, and the thought of it makes me feel sick.
Yeah.
What would you say to him?
It will. And it will for the first few times. And then you'll get a bit of success from it, or you'll get something from it. And then you'll learn, actually, hang about, it's going to help me here. And it's just the same as BD calls. You don't like doing them at the start. Imagine like the first time you actually have to do it, like, horrendous. I remember like calling someone and I accidentally called the reception, and then she didn't know that the job was being advertised and it was actually her job. And like, that was like the end of the world for me. But it's always going to be horrible the first few times you're doing it. But it's the same as like when you're riding a bike. The first few times when you're learning, you're going to fall off it and it's not going to be very nice, but it just gets better. It gets easier, it gets easier, it gets easier. It's just the same with, same with speaking to candidates, exact same as cold calling. It's the exact same with the content stuff. It gets easier. Yeah, it's horrible at the start because you think, everyone's judging me, everyone's got an opinion on it. It doesn't matter. Most people, they'll put their comment, they'll put their opinion, they'll forget they even did it 30 seconds later. So it gets easier.
It's just a public domain that people are frightened of, but
yeah.
It's
also,
scale.
be careful what you post as well, 100%.
Yeah.
Like I've seen some people build like a brand on LinkedIn and it's just like they're just posting stuff. I'm thinking, I wouldn't be. They're being way too opinionated on stuff. And I'm like, right, that's probably not.
Again, I think it's about being authentic.
100%.
If you're someone who's not overly opinionated in real life, well, the reality is not many really good recruiters haven't got an opinion.
Yeah.
Because you've got to be able to have the confidence of an opinion to be a recruiter. You've got to be able to meet a client and advise them. You've got to be able to tell candidates that they're actually going in the wrong direction. You've got to be able to influence through opinions. So you can't just be vanilla and yes to everyone. That's never going to get you to the top of the industry.
If you're struggling with it, go on ChatGPT. Like say, what could I post about today? Get it to write your post, then rewrite it and write out how you would say it with actually your opinion on it. Okay, we've done half the job for you.
Yeah. I think it's more about thinking about you and your representation online. And if you can say it on the phone, which you should be doing, you should say it online. If you would never say it on the phone, that's the golden rule. Never put it on LinkedIn. Because you might get engagement, but it'll go in the direction that is leading you somewhere you're not. And that's not what you want.
I think there's certain people that you can tell that just say things for engagement on there. And, if that works for them, it works for them. Like Rec to Rec's a great one for it. If you're just posting stuff for engagement, that's a bit controversial. It's getting out to loads of people. A lot of recruiters are seeing it. If it's like really sarcastic, a lot of recruiters might find it funny. We'll get people from it. It's fine. But like for me, targeting marketing agencies or targeting corporates, they're not going to find some of that.
Yeah,
that stuff funny.
So you got to think about you and the audience and make sure it's measured. Now, direct question, when did you, what age were you when you started, the money started flowing and you were like, my life's changing here?
I'd say probably year after COVID is when I was like, right, I've actually got out of a lot of the costs that we had signed up. And then I'm like, okay, I'm actually now taking sort of a bit more of this, going on more of the holidays. So I'll probably say about mainly the last couple of years, I'd say, in particular.
And how did that
2-3 years.
affect you at 24? Like, what were the byproducts of that?
Yeah, I've bought some stupid stuff. Like it genuinely, but I wasn't smart with it. Like I wasn't saving money, going to buy like houses and stuff like that. Recently I moved back home to Save to Buy. Me and my other half both decided to do it. Both at my parents, which is like now a massive change, right? But yeah, like cars, nights out. Nights out was the big one, which is also like one of the reasons we got the London one. London office, we moved up here every like Thursday when I was here. I'd bump into someone.
You had an office in London?
Yeah.
Where was that?
It lasted 3 months. Liverpool Street.
Right.
So I'd be walking back to the station, I'd bump into a candidate or a client, then you'd go out for a few drinks. So let's get some dinner, and you'd end up just always being out. And then I didn't like the lifestyle anymore.
No.
So I'm still like correcting a lot of things, but yeah, it's a challenging position to be in, I think, but also like the years before, everyone expected me to have a lot more than I'd had because of the headcount I had. Everyone's like, it must be like really successful, when, well, they're taking up a lot of sort of costs that aren't making profit, where my billing's
You're
going
carrying loads of people.
100%. So then I realized, like, why am I carrying people that when I can actually be
So scaling head count back down meant that there was more profit coming through.
100%.
Yeah.
The people that weren't doing stuff were gone. The people that were doing things stayed. Everyone was a lot happier.
And what was it like letting people go?
It's the most horrible thing you can ever do. I can't stand it. Like, I hate it. Like, there's so many times where like the decision should have been made probably 3 months before it actually happened, just because I was putting.
You didn't have that ruthless edge to like want to just cut people for the sake.
I know some people that I absolutely not love it, but like does not bother them.
Yeah, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm at the point where I'll let things drag too long. Like I've got to think about the business, but yeah, I think if you're comfortable with it, you should never be leading people anyway.
The thing that I keep doing at the moment is I'll flip a coin. I'll go, right, heads, I'm going to make this decision. Tails, I'll make that decision. And then when I flip it, I've got a decision in my head that I hope it's that. That's
what happens if it lands on the opposite?
But the thing that I'm thinking in my head when I flip it, so like if I say like heads is this, tails is that, and when I flip it, I'm thinking, I really hope it lands on heads. Then that's the decision I'll go for.
What if it lands on tails?
Then I'll ignore the coin where it lands. The decision that I wanted to make when I flip it,
if it lands,
that's then when I'm like, right, that must be the right decision because that's what I'm hoping for, right?
Real.
So I've been doing that recently. Yeah.
How do you run a multi-million-pound business? You flip a coin.
Flip a coin. Yeah.
So the business is growing financially as the headcount comes down. The brand's growing nicely.
Yep.
Fast forward to 2024.
Yep.
Difficult year across the board.
Yeah, I think.
How did you guys find last year?
I find it interesting. So we had a lot of our sort of big accounts overspent the year before.
Yeah.
And the 2 years before that. So a lot of them went. So there's a lot of focus on sort of BD, a very big focus around that. Hired a few experienced consultants and stuff like that. They didn't work out. So we had probably the last year of just, I think 4 people came in, 4 people went. The exact same people went. So we had a lot of that last year. We moved from Reading to London and London to remote. So we had a lot of that. So I'd say it's a big transition year. Billings wise it was down from the year before because the year before for us, everyone had overspent our client space. So.
Yeah.
I think it was a year of learning, I'd say more than anything, 100%.
Yeah.
And I would say it was a big content push, to be fair, last year for me. And we made good money off speaking events and stuff like that as well, which then unlocked a new revenue stream for us.
So what made you finally make the call to get rid of the office then? So what take us through that journey? So
we were doing, at that point when we went to London, we were doing 3 from home, 2 in, and everyone was way more productive when we were from home. I speak to Alex, as I said before, quite a lot, just because we live close to each other and everything. And he was saying about his company, there everyone's fully remote and how everything happens and stuff. And I was like, I'd quite like that. I think, would I prefer that, like with the position I'm getting in my life now, where actually I'm focusing more on work-life balances as well, which I've never had. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, why don't we give it up and try it for a month? Everyone's a lot happier. It's even stuff like we don't really care. Like if you want to go to the gym at 11 o'clock, go to the gym at 11 o'clock. Like you're gonna work your hours kind of thing. So we've kind of just like gone to that kind of route with things. So it's like, right, you don't have set times. Like you're just expected to do your numbers, expected to do things. Everyone is really happy, way happier than they have.
Do you have like set? There's a meeting at 9 o'clock on a Monday.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So like we'll have kickoff meetings. We have one-to-one. So I have weekly one-to-ones with the team. And then to be fair, like most of the day I'm on the phone to the team. Well, they're calling me or I'm calling them about stuff and we're just chatting about roles and stuff we're collabing on, for example. So we still speak to each other a lot. And then when we gave up the office, we said, look, we'll definitely go away every other month and we'll work and do training. So December we went to Dublin. Next month we're looking at places already where we'll go somewhere like I said, Dublin, 3 days, we're working. Someone might go, oh, do you know what, my BD call's been really good the last month. Can I give some training on stuff like that? Okay, that person will do a bit of training, everyone do a bit of work. And then we can still do like the sightseeing stuff and socialising. So you still have that culture side of it there, still have the team building side of it.
So how many, 6 trips a year? Or do you want to do more?
So it'd be minimum 6, ideally be 12.
Wow.
So what we want to do is the point where everyone's hitting target, we'll go every single month. But we'll go a Tuesday to a Friday so it doesn't impact weekends.
Yeah.
Because like the last thing like I really want is like to be away on the weekends, not with like my friends, my partner and stuff like that. So it's always during the week. And yeah, it's been really good because people are getting excited as well. When it comes to actually hiring, people are interested by it. They're like, hey, like, how does that work? But we were paying, and I think the London one was like $3,000 a month. So I was like, right, well, hang about. We can get flights to Dublin here for like 400 and an apartment for 300. We'll get a couple of dinners and stuff like that. That's $1,000. Okay, we're still saving that. And the budget from the office is basically just gone on these trips straight away, just a swap. Because as we hire more, we'd have to have bigger offices. Yeah. And that budget would have constantly grown and grown and grown. Like I know people that are spending $10,000 a month on offices.
Yeah, of course.
So if you did that as a trip, you could probably do it as 4, and you're still
It's just
cutting money.
I guess, whether that budget that was an office will not feel like it was a budget for an office in 10 months or 12 months time. 'Cause
Yeah.
At the moment it's fresh. It was like that we used to spend. Whereas after a while you're like, well, we haven't had an office for ages.
The nice
Then
thing is
it's-
we're not
as long as
spending
you-
like the whole cost of that stuff. So
I think as long as you have a P&L and a budget and the line
yeah.
is events or, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
meetups, why not?
100%.
And what's the impact?
It's nice because like if you hit the more you do, the longer we'll go, or the nicer place will go, and you can still incentivize around
Are
that.
the team all similar age to you and can like go without any responsibilities like kids or anything?
Yeah. At the moment they can. That's something that will have to be changed. That they're not going to be enforceable trips. Just because if someone's caring for someone, they're not going to be able to come. Okay, but we'll do something else for you if you can't come. And
I look at to be honest, Hoxo's. So Emma's the oldest member of Hoxo. I'm the second oldest.
Yeah.
We both got kids. No one else has got kids. There's a couple of people getting married this year. I can see the business changing.
Yeah.
Over the next few years, we've probably got like a late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
Group. But even like I came down to London Monday morning yesterday on the early train. I'm going back tomorrow night. I'm doing 2 days of podcasting. I've had a full day with the team. It's quite a big disruption to my life.
Yeah, of
like
course.
my wife and the baby, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
little one. I've got 2 dogs, and it's like there's a lot. I'm leaving a lot behind for my wife to pick up. So that might be something to think about as your business evolves.
So
But
it's stuff that we've all said. Like at the moment, we're in a way that we can be doing it. We've always said that if it gets to a point where it becomes not doable, then yeah, okay, we'll do them. They're optional, but if you didn't come, then
the thing is, you don't have to commit forever. You can say for the next
Yeah.
12 months, this is the plan.
Yeah, exactly.
And then at the end of the year, you can reevaluate. Just like you had an office and now you don't.
Yeah, exactly. I think things will change, and eventually, like people won't want to go. Like, it'll get to a point where I wouldn't want to do that. Let's say like 3 years time, I might not want to go to Dublin, for example, and because it might be a drinking heavy thing, or it might not be, or whatever it is. And it's also like picking places that aren't like we learned from Dublin. Dublin's very drinking heavy.
Yeah, it's just booze culture, isn't it?
Yeah, so like we've learned from Dublin's probably not the best place to go for it. But yeah, I think if it will definitely change, and that might change to quarterly or whatever. But
What's the positive impact though? Do you think on this initiative of having a fully remote business with a monthly, ideally a monthly meetup, like off-site meetup? What's the benefits that you see?
So everyone seems happier. They're not doing these obviously commutes and everything like that. When it comes to internal recruitment, it's been a lot easier. But one, because obviously now we can go all over the UK, but people are really wanting to learn about it. When we start posting more and more about it, it'll be good talking points.
Yeah, good.
But everyone just seems like their mental health's improved a lot, their work-life balance has improved a lot, and it just seems like, right, well, everyone seems to be having a better life, which is making people work harder because they go, well, I don't want to lose this lifestyle I've got now. So we've only really seen positives from it. We haven't seen a negative.
And are you going to try and grow headcount this year
100%.
to how much?
We're not sure yet. I'm not putting a number on it because I've done it before where I'm like, I want to get to 12. And then I'm there like, I end up like doing an academy just to try to get to 12.
But again, it sounds like the business that I might be wrong, but it sounds like you probably need go and get a few good people.
Yeah,
who've
yeah.
already got sales and marketing recruitment experience from good agencies around the country.
That's the plan. Yeah,
You don't need an academy. You need 5-6 quality people.
Probably 3 years experience.
People that are like being dragged into an office elsewhere.
Yeah.
Don't fancy it. Would
100%.
rather them they've got the skills to work from home. Because training people completely remote is a different game.
Yeah, that's the thing we're not going to be doing. So like, some of them might just have little ones, for example, and they want to be more present. Amazing. That's the kind of person. It's little things like that. And also like we're looking at Manchester, we're looking at Leeds, we're looking at Brighton. We can kind of go absolutely
Doesn't
everywhere
matter.
with it. Yeah, it does not matter. If someone's there like, oh, I've just, I might have a little one there too. I want to be around a lot more so my other half can go to work. Amazing. Yeah, come work with us then. Because we'll be able to suit it for you.
Genuinely, like having a baby that's 15 months, it's a game changer. Because I'm there every morning. I work in my office in my garden, and I'm like 10 seconds I'm back in the house. So I see her have her lunch every single day.
Yeah.
I put her down for a nap every single day. I bath her every single night. But I'm seeing her through the day. I'll go to see her swimming on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. If I look back at pre-COVID when I was in an office like this in Bethnal Green, and the clients I had and stuff, like it was accepted that you didn't see your kids until bed. Sometimes you didn't even see them go to bed.
Yeah, so I live with my niece now. My niece is 2. So even like now, I never used to see her, and now I see her every day.
Yeah.
And I always think I always speak to my brother about it, about how nice it is that he can actually see her grow up and stuff like that. Like when we were younger, my dad always used to work away, so we never really used to see him. And now I'm there like, if we have this environment where everyone's remote, people can actually be there for the important things in their life, still be earning well, and everyone's then happy, is way better than dragging people into an office 5 days a week just because I want to see what they're doing.
I also think it depends on you as well. Like, I know I don't need that energy off people all day. If anything, it zaps my energy too much.
Yeah.
Like, even today, I've literally, in between podcasts, and I've gone and had some lunch, right? I don't like the fact that the high street has all these options, and I'm like, bleeding now, what am I going to eat? And
Overwhelming, isn't it?
I've had something that's probably heavier than whereas at home, I've got my kitchen, I know what I'm eating, it's all good quality food, it's repeatable. That's the nature of me.
Yeah. And once you go there as well.
And I didn't know, I didn't know I was that guy until I went remote.
Yeah.
So if you said, right, Sean, you're in an office 3-4 days a week, and I'm like, what am I going to meal prep? I'm going to
some dried chicken and rice.
Yeah, I'm going to go and eat. I'm going to go Sainsbury's and pick up stuff. Or I'm going to go all of that. I'm like, nah.
I think it's going to be interesting hiring for the first year, because even the people we spoke to at the moment, we'll be like, right, what's your split at the moment? Okay, you're 3 and 2. Are you actually more productive when you're from home? Because we're always there, like, if you come and it's not productive, this is going to be ending really quick. So we're just having to be quite upfront with expectations with it all. But some people don't. Like, they go, like, we speak to people, they're like, oh, do you know what? Like, even though being fully remote sounds great, I prefer being in the office. I'm like, yeah, great. That we don't.
You're not right for me.
You're not right for us. But then that's completely fine as well.
When you're in and out, when you're in or out, I've always said it. We said it again. Me and Amma were saying that was a decision we made in 2020, and we will never change, because we find it easier being out. Yeah. Even though there's people we've lost, and there's been times where you feel isolated and stuff. We've never had to worry about that 3 and 2 stuff and who does what. And it's a bit like the alcohol thing for me now. One of the biggest benefits of cutting it was, I'm sick of thinking about it. I'm sick of going, am I going to drink today? Am I going to have 2? Am I going to have 3? Should I drink tonight? Oh, I've got to get up in the morning. I don't have to think about any of that.
Yeah, just take it away.
It's just gone.
Yeah.
And sometimes you think, yeah, maybe I did miss out on something. Or maybe that person would have been good. But I think it's easier.
Also, like, it makes decision making a lot easier as well, because you don't get too attached to people. When you're in the office 5 days a week, we'll give this person a few more weeks. I really like them. You don't also have that. You can make decisions a lot faster, which I needed help with, which also has helped me with that. But
this feeds back into the bit that I was saying. It's building the business that suits you, that's going to benefit your life, not building a business that you think is...
this one agency did it 20 years ago. That worked for them. We need to repeat it. That's probably not going to be the case anymore. So it's been an interesting one. But also, like, you know, I get to see my family a lot more. I see my other half a lot more. You know, I get to do, like, sort of nicer things, because, like, the evening time, I can actually just shut my laptop and go have dinner with her. And then I've got a bit of stuff to do later on. I can just do that later. And, like, you actually get into that kind of lifestyle of it. And that actually makes it more motivating for me, because I'm there like, oh, well, you know, we could work away for a few months. Okay, well, I need to be making X, Y, and Z to be able to do stuff like that. And then your motivators just completely change. Instead of thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to train to Liverpool Street at 6 a.m. and then I'm getting back at midnight, and you just feel like a bit run down the next day. Yeah. Don't have any of that anymore.
What don't you like about being a business owner? Like, you know, there's a load of positives and you're on a trajectory, but what's the bit that you like, maybe, you know, people need to know it's not that good?
There's a lot of things. It's even stuff like when it comes to invoicing and late payments and stuff like that. Like, we've had so many of them. We had it once when our second year, we nearly went under because of it. We did a lot of temp stuff for this one company. They didn't pay us for 7 months.
Wow. And
it was like 50 grand of like candidates we were having to pay out. So, like, there's things like that. Like, when it comes to actually, like, the invoice side of things, I hate that. The stress as well. Like, everyone's done it where people have voted maybe like 50 grand, for example, and you're there like, we need the money. Like, those kind of things. Like, I always say my hairline's taken a beating in the last year. I always say, and I'm there like, yeah, it's like the stress side of it. Like, it's not for everyone. And, like, there's so many times I'm there like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done it so young and everything like that. But, like, for me now, that's all I've really known.
Yeah, you're like a hardened business owner at 26.
Well, you think, like, you spend how many years at school, like a secondary school, a primary school. I'm the same now with work, with having this business. So it's a bit of a weird one, but it's not for everyone. And for a lot of people, you could earn a lot more money not doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I know people that earn way more than I do, and they're just a senior consultant. They're happy. They haven't got to have the stress and the worries on the weekend and stuff that a business owner does.
No, but you've got control. Which is probably why you're doing it, which is why I'm doing it. It's 100%. About having complete control. Yeah,
it's more the lifestyle thing of, okay, you could earn an extra 30 grand elsewhere, but you have control of your life.
And they're going to tell you to get in on a train and
Yeah, like, I haven't put an annual leave request in for how long? Like, we've still got like
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that.
a HR system, like, which keep track of everyone's and like.
Charlie HR or Bamboo.
Yeah, we've got Bright, and it still says that I've got like full entitlement from like the last 3 years, and I'm like, yeah,
I don't put it in.
yeah, no.
What's the future look like for you then? So you're 6 years in, you've built a sizable business, you've made money, you've lost money, you've made mistakes, you've hired, you've fired, you've gone remote. I don't expect you to have the full answer, but what do you see? Like, what's your big vision of what you want to create?
So my absolute dream where would be, having 20, 25 people around that size of actually experienced people that are earning good money, all having a good life, and just being a bit more hands off and being more stuff like out there, focusing on content,
Brand, content,
yeah,
community.
focusing more on stuff like that, and not be so sort of hands on.
Do you think someone would be needed to come in and run the business, like run the team?
Yeah, but
allow you to then go and do what you're really good at.
And I think we'll find that person this year.
Yeah.
I think they're already in the business.
I think there's too many founders like you though that have got so much capability on brand and content, and you're an outwardly facing CEO.
Yeah.
But then without the inward,
100%.
There's a challenge. I've got like my business partner and 2 leaders that like they cover everything, they mop everything up that I can't do.
Yeah.
And without them, it'd be a nightmare.
Well, me and Alex speak about the exact thing on the way here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I know exactly who that person will be. And their role will sort of grow that for the next 2 years. And then the plan is for the end of that second year that I go into that role where sort of just out and about doing things that I actually want to be doing, that I know that my time will be way better spent there than BD and filling roles.
Are you still filling jobs now?
Yeah. I even like the other day, like I was helping out one of the team resourcing. I just love it sometimes. Sometimes I love it. Depends what the role is. Yeah, like depends on what the role and who the client is. But sometimes absolutely love it. But then I get too obsessed with it. I think like last year.
I think it's nice to have a little dabble in the market and have your fingers in and still feel it.
100%.
I think unless you get really big and you just got to dedicate. I think I don't know. I think there's something we would say again. I was chatting to my business partner this morning about like sales is still. There's some buzz in it that you can't replicate.
Yeah, I feel like I had a point to prove, I think 2 years ago, and I kind of went a bit crazy. And then I had my like high spinning quarters and stuff like that. And all it actually did was it had more of a negative impact than a positive, because everyone else in the team then were getting a bit arsey because of the numbers. And we had like 3 people leave over it.
Yeah.
So it was...
So how many are you today then?
So there's
6, is it?
6 of us today. Including like non-exec directors, sort of like admin support and stuff like that. We're interviewing at the moment, so we've got a couple of people we're looking at. The plan is realistically is potentially hire 2.
So if someone's listening,
every quarter,
potentially, would they have to be a sales and marketing recruiter then?
At the moment, that's what we're looking at, but we're not sort of dead set on it. Like Jake, who we just hired, he's from tech, but knows a lot of people in sales and marketing and wanting to go into it. So
is it all in-house roles in brands?
In-house and agency.
Oh, you do agency as well?
Yeah. So PR side of things as well. So we do cover quite a wide range of it. At the moment, I think the next few will be people that have been in sales and marketing or office support, because I think office support is quite transferable across to it. That would be sort of the idea.
Is office support still a market that's
I don't know.
busy? I would have thought like virtual assistants and shit would take that away quite
I still see some people do it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the personal assistants, EAs, there's still a heavy market for stuff like that. Office managers, there's still operations managers, those kind of roles. But I think you need to have a big area you're covering. Like you might cover the whole of London for it, and it is so candidate heavy. But also like I always find like PAs and EAs are one of like the hardest things because people are so fussy about it. Because it is like the CEO is like, that's that person. They're going to be with them so much that culture is going to be everything. If they do one thing that annoys me in an interview, no chance.
It's funny, my marketing and ops director, Lauren, like she's not my PA, but she does run a lot behind the scenes.
Yeah.
She organises the podcast. She does so much for me. But my wife's also called Lauren. So I've got 2 women in my life called Lauren, and it gets so confusing at times. Like I'll say something and I'll have to say my Lauren, and it's like,
which one's your Lauren? You have to,
no, there's only one that's actually mine, but it's funny. She's amazing though, and I'm like, yeah, I think, how the fuck would I do half the things without her? Like, I don't think, and I used to try and do all of these things. You can own too much of the process.
I'm like not the most organised person, so we brought in someone to do admin and PA. Like the operations person, it didn't work out, and my mum was like, "Oh, I'll do that." And then we hired my mum, and she's been here for like 4 years.
She's still doing it?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
She always finds it funny. She's like, "I used to organise your life when you were like a kid. Now, like I still do it now."
That's class.
Yeah, and like literally, like me and her would just like go out to like concerts together and stuff like that as like a thank you side of things as well. Because she was there like, you're not paying me. I was like, all right, well. Then it's there like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. I was like, can't just give you a salary and like not have to do all of that kind of stuff, right? Because it adds up. Like, but yeah, so she, I got my mum to help me.
Mate, do you know what? You've got such a cool little business. I love the way that you've created something from nothing. You're young, you're energetic, you're open about what you don't know. I think it's a really endearing story that people can do this.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I think you're right. I don't think everyone should start so young, but there's people that probably need to get out of their own way of fear and just give it a go.
Yeah, like, I have terrible grades and everything like that at school, and like, you know, you can still be able to do it as long as you've got the right attitude and
Do you know what? This is totally off topic on what we've been saying, really, but I was watching Mo Gaudat, who's like the ex-Google X guy who's on like Bartlett's podcast and things, a video talking about how the biggest disruptor of AI is going to be academic roles.
Yeah.
Where like people have got like lawyers, for example, where it's like binary education. They'll just rip through it.
You can get ChatGPT to do a contract in seconds.
Yeah, and they're not like, you don't matter how intelligent you are academically, ChatGPT will know more. Whereas
100%. People skill stuff.
Yeah, recruitment's not. It's so there's stuff it will obviously be able to repeat and but I think actually in a weird way I think like the kids and the people that are like not completely lent on academia, they could be in a slightly stronger position if you
100%. There's like AI tools that I know that are coming out on certain platforms that will try replace recruitment a little bit, but yeah, it'll match loads of profiles to a job, but that profile person might not be interested, or they might not be the right culture. AI is never going to be able to tell that.
I'll never say never, because I think the way it's changed in the last 2 years is frightening, and who knows what 2 years and 3 years looks like. But I still don't see a world where people making a decision on where they work, which is one of the top 3 in your life, where you live, who you marry or whatever, and where you work, what you do. I can't see a world where they're not having a human-to-human interaction to make that decision.
100%.
Internally and, third-party recruitment agencies. So the shape of it, the volume of what you do, the amount of the process, all of that is subject to change.
Yeah.
But I can't see a world
See,
without
like the cold calls. Like, have you had any of those like AI cold calls?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it. Just put the phone down straight away.
It's just like the ones where they're like, "Have you had an accident?"
Yeah. Like, but I think that's what that will become. Like,
they blast like 10,000 numbers a minute. Everyone's getting it like,
yeah.
"Hi, did you have an accident?" You're like, has anyone ever actually felt it?
I know someone that he used it for his recruitment agency for like a month, and he was like, I want to see the results. And he had like thousands and thousands and thousands like a day, and he was like, yeah, I got nothing. And he was like, because people hear it and they're like, oh, no, that personal touch.
And if your brand name is attached to it, what's the damage done?
Loads.
Yeah.
You've reached out to maybe 100,000 people that are all thinking, oh, that's an AI company.
Yeah, it's that shit agency that sent me an AI bot. So it's, with everything that's positive and all this efficiency comes a downside. You've got to measure which
that
one
personal touch, I think it's...
Like I say, the brand comes with scale, but there is an element that you can get slapped and you can get people's opinions. And this goes against my business, right? Because I'm trying to get more people to do this. But in a way, I'm glad that there isn't too many people doing it. I'm glad that if it was that easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah, it's not easy. The more you work at it, the easier it gets, same as everything. But the easier it gets, the more you'll do it, the more success you'll have from it.
Harry, thanks so much.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, man.
Top man. I want to get you back on in the future. I think the next couple of years are going to be pivotal. I got a guy called Chris Redmond. Do you know Chris Redmond? Do you know that name? He lives in Dubai. He's from Reading, but
all the best people from Reading.
From Reading. But he lived in Essex from Reading. Long story. But I had him on in 2019 when I had an office like this doing the pod, and they'd just gone remote. This was pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
First business that went fully remote, and it worked out well. But it's funny how their journey's changed. They've gone back, they've come out, they've done so many things in 2025, and he's in the UAE with a remote team, and it's pretty cool. So we'll get you back on and see how this evolves.
100%.
Top man.
Thank you as always for listening to today's show. I truly hope that you got value from it. Honestly, it's the only reason I take time every week to ensure that my audience, you guys, future and existing recruitment owners, you're learning from each other to make this industry that I love so much stronger. And today's episode is brought to you by my business, Hoxo. I'm the CEO and founder, and we're on a mission to help brand recruitment agencies and their people better. I want to help people have the tools to stand out in the most competitive markets in the world. So I'll see you again next week with another episode. Catch you soon.